Brigadier Saeed Ahmad Ali, the former Pro Vice Chancellor of the Aligarh Muslim University, opined that the society carries a completely wrong notion about the Muslim community which needs to be corrected.
Why do we all go to mazars today? We all believe in mazars. It's because those peers, those saints, practiced peace, they practiced brotherhood, they practiced love. If they were the real followers of Islam as per this definition, they would not have been worshipped as they are being worshipped even today. You know how Islam came to Jammu and Kashmir. It was through the northwestern, Samarkand and all those holy people who came and settled there. People embraced there. No wars were fought in Jammu and Kashmir. Same was in many other places. Hyderabad, when it was annexed with the Indian state, had only 12% population of Muslims, though ruled by Muslims. The point I am trying to drive is that Islam was never forced upon any community. It was, why people change their religion, to my mind, is basically when they see some charm in that religion. Firstly, they are attracted towards the religion, or there is some enticement. One of the two happens, and that is how they convert their religion. But in case of Islam, whoever embraced, he saw some charm, some dignity, some code of conduct, and that's why he embraced Islam. When Islam came in Kerala, it came in the lifetime of Prophet Muhammad himself, 13th century. When Islam had not come through North India, Islam was already in Kerala. Indian first mosque in Kerala is older than the Mughal Empire. So, how did it happen? Because people had business, people had trade, people found these chaps good people, so they said, all right, we embrace your religion. Muhammad bin Qasim, the most derided person, he was invited to come to India by the Indians. Babur was invited to come to India by the Indians. They saw the Indian wealth, they saw the India as a good country to hunt for, and they came. So it was not the purpose of Islam to spread sword or by sword. Now there are certain things which have no answers, and I don't have any answer. For example, in many Arab countries there is genital mutilation, female genital mutilation. It has nothing to do with Islam. It has nothing to do with Quran. There is no mention of it in Quran. Why it is happening? It was happening in the times of Jews also, Christians also, and much earlier also. So the tradition has been continuing. What was a tradition has now been given a color of a religion. It has been connected to a religion. Similarly, stoning adulterers, Islam has not sanctioned. There is no mention of stoning to death a person who has committed adultery. Similarly, blasphemy laws, which is there in Pakistan, that a man or even a woman has been sentenced to death for blasphemy laws. It is not sanctioned by Quran. Forgiveness is the hallmark of the Prophet. He always used to forget those who had trespassed against him. How could he order somebody to be stoned to death? One should not subscribe to what is happening in the name of salvaging the Prophet's image and reputation. He never ordained death to anybody who curses him or anybody who says wrong things about him. Then what is Islamism? Islamism is a political movement born out of exigency of situation. A situation was created, people wanted to fight that situation, and that gave birth to Islamism. It has no theology involved, none whatsoever. Islamism does not take its roots from the Quran. See what happened to the many governments in Middle East in the name of Islamism. Take for example Tunisia, Egypt, Algeria. All these legal governments were uprooted by the so-called Islamists. These people masquerade as the upholders of this flag of Islam. Far from it. Islamism has killed more Muslims than anybody else, than even the Crusades. It is the Islamism which has given rise to Boko Haram, Al-Shabaab, Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Taliban, and so many other organizations. They have together killed many, many thousands of Muslims. See what is happening every day in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Syria, and several other Muslim countries. But this does not mean that it is part of Islam. It means that Islamism gave rise to jihadism. And a very wrong interpretation of jihad came about when somebody called for Islamism. Jihad, what you hear and see about it, is not the thing which I will be talk about it later. One of the things which I wanted to share with you is the compassion in Islam. The opening verse of any surah of Islam starts with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It says, God, in the name of God, the most munificent, the most beneficent. It is a mercy spirit of God that is invoked in every surah. Before you pray any prayer, you start with this. So you understand that the compassion feeling God Himself has ordained, and He wants His followers to follow that. This verse has come about 113 times in Quran. There are 114 surah in Quran. 113 times it starts with, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. The central theme of Quran is compassion. अगर किसी के साथ आप मोहब्बत दिखा सकते हैं, प्लीज़ दिखाइए उसको. अगर किसी के साथ रहम कर सकते हैं तो करिए. God never forbids not to exonerate a guilty person. God never stops from giving forgiveness to a person who has committed a crime. Compassion is the heart of every religion. It is the heart of Hinduism, it is the heart of Islam, it is the heart of Christianity. Every religion preaches compassion. One beautiful thing which Islam practices is zakat. Sadqa, zakat. You must have heard this word, zakat. Every Muslim who has the wherewithal and the monetary resources must give away a certain percentage of his income to the poor and the needy as a form of zakat. This is a wonderful form of compassion in Islam. I want to share my richness with my poor colleague. And it is not forbidding that you will not give to X, Y, Z. You can give to anybody whom you deem as a poor person. Muslims would be aware of the story of a woman who used to throw garbage on the head of the Prophet while he used to pass through her house for going for prayers. Every day she used to throw heaps of garbage on his head. One day that woman did not throw. The Prophet became anxious to know, where is that woman? Today she did not throw the garbage. And he went to her house to inquire, why didn't you throw the woman? Her relatives told that she is not well. The Prophet sat down there and he prayed for her well-being. That is compassion. There is a famous story of Hind. Hind was the woman who tore apart the chest of his cousin, Hamza, Prophet's cousin, and she took out the liver of Hazrat Hamza and she bit that liver. Such cruelty in one of the battles. Prophet condoned her also. He said, you were angry, you were annoyed, you did this to my cousin, doesn't matter. Let's carry on. This happened in the Battle of Ohad. Similarly, when the mosque in Medina was inaugurated, the first person to be called upon by the Prophet to give azan was a black man, a Negro, Hazrat Bilal. He could have called any of his tribes, Quraysh or such tribes, but he called Hazrat Bilal. He said, I give you this privilege to give the first azan from their minaret. He was an African slave. He became the muezzin of that mosque. Look at his own example. The Prophet married a widow who was elder to him in age, his first wife. That lady, he allowed him to do trade, commerce, deposit her own money, do her own business. When I tell this to my Muslim colleagues, they look at my face because I don't find many Muslim women doing business. She used to do business on dates. You might have read about her. This is the Prophet which gave freedom to a woman, and that to his own wife, to do business as you feel like. The Prophet loved animals. One day a cat was sleeping on his arm and it was time for prayer. The Prophet had to go for prayer. He didn't want to wake up the cat or disturb, so he cut his sleeve of the arm and he allowed the cat to continue sleeping, and he slowly pulled his arm and went for prayer. Similarly, he prayed for the woman who was very beastly with animals. She used to beat the dogs and all that. When she was sick, the Prophet prayed for her. The idea is that compassion has been central to Islam, not the other way around.